Usually, when someone has been working at an industry for a number of years, you kind of take it for granted that they understand not only the industry, but its audience, and perhaps even most importantly, the symbiotic relationship between the two. However, that's not always the case. Alex Hutchinson, a creative director with Google's Stadia, and by the way, that's gonna need a qualifier later on, stay tuned. And also previously with Ubisoft and EA, and in fact, he was part of the team that developed such hits as Far Cry 4, Assassin's Creed 3, and Spore. I don't know exactly what caused Hutchinson to feel the need to destroy his career and reputation in such a public manner, but I'm sort of thankful that it happened because it was pretty funny. This is what he had to say. Streamers worried about getting their content pulled because they use music they didn't pay for should be more worried by the fact that they are streaming games they didn't pay for as well. It's all gone as soon as publishers decide to enforce it. The real truth is the streamers should be paying the developers and publishers of the games they stream. They should be buying a license like any real business and paying for the content they use. Where do I even begin with this bullshit? So, there's a lot to unpack here. First of all, one could charitably say that Hutchinson doesn't really believe this. He's just saying this is how things, according to current understanding of copyright laws and how it's interpreted by the courts most of the time, this is what probably should be happening, and it's good that it doesn't, right? That would be a descriptive statement. He's just saying the way the law is, this could happen at any time. The only reason it's not happening is because developers don't think that that's a hill they want to die on. However, it doesn't seem like he's making a descriptive statement, and rather he's making a normative statement. He's saying this is how things actually should be. He actually believes that streamers should pay some kind of licensing fee to play these games on Twitch or wherever. Like, it's a moral imperative. Like, they're ripping off the developers for using their content to create money, but they're not giving them a cut. He seems to be under the impression that streaming should work like TV syndication. Like, say, when a television station airs a movie, they're not just doing that for free, right? They have to pay a licensing fee, and that way the studio gets a cut. And presumably everybody involved in the production of the movie will get a cut as well, but because of Hollywood accounting, we know that most of that money doesn't really funnel down to like the actors and everybody else. It just stays with the studio. That's just the way things work. Which, you know, it adds another layer of irony, because he's saying, his whole point is that it's not fair for people who worked on that product to not be rewarded, to not get compensation for this product, in this case games, being used in a commercial manner by people who are raking all the benefits, and nothing is getting passed down to the people who actually created the game, right? But that doesn't happen in the system that he seems to think is how things should work. So it's wrong on top of wrong. Now, there's obvious reasons why, in a case with syndication or when songs play on the radio, why a licensing fee in these cases is warranted. When you watch a movie on TV or you listen to a song on the radio, it could be argued that that is a replacement to actually owning the movie or buying the song, the album, right? If you get to just listen to it for free, you wouldn't buy it. If you get to watch the movie on TV for free, you wouldn't buy a physical copy of that movie. With games, on the other hand, streaming isn't really a replacement for owning the game. It's a different type of entertainment. It's passive. One could argue it's transformative. Needless to say, Hutchinson was mercilessly blasted on Twitter by basically everybody who came across this take. And he doubled down. He made a passive-aggressive tweet about, like, can you believe people are upset just because I said that people who make a game should be able to profit off of that game? Hey, idiot, they did when they sold the game. The best thing is that Google themselves came out to distance the company and the service from what Hutchinson was saying. They said that basically his views don't reflect those of Google, YouTube, or Stadia. Oh, and by the way, a creative director at Stadia, that's not quite accurate. Hutchinson was one of the founders of Typhoon Studios, which was bought by Google to help develop games for Stadia, exclusive games. So he's the creative director of SGNE, Stadia Games and Entertainment, which is a smaller subsidiary or department of Stadia itself. However, that distinction wasn't very clear up until this controversy, because in his Twitter bio, Alex Hutchinson only had creative director at Stadia. Then all of this happened and his bio changed to creative director at SGNE, leaving you to figure out what that actually is and creating some more distance between his dead wrong take and the company that employs him for now. Because this, I think, is the crux of the matter. Stadia fights an uphill battle. Game streaming hasn't really convinced most gamers, I would say. And though we're moving to an increasingly more digital world where you don't actually own the things that you enjoy, everything is a subscription service. You listen to music on Spotify or Apple Music, you watch your shows and your movies on Disney Plus or Netflix or Hulu or whatever. We don't get to own the things that we enjoy as much. And when these services shut down, you are basically renting all these things indefinitely. You're left with nothing. And I think with games, that becomes a bigger problem, especially when we're talking about a service offered by a company with a long track record of discontinuing services that don't pan out. Google Wave, Google Bus, Google Reader, like there's so many, there's a big laundry list of services that Google just discontinued. So when the company has that history, it's already hard to get gamers on your side, so I'm gonna just be renting these games forever from this company that has a history of pulling the plug on services. And then on top of that, you add this guy who is apparently a creative director at Stadia. Now, again, this has been sort of corrected, but the damage has been done, right? Like everybody coming across this news, they're thinking this is what the leadership of Stadia believes. There are already some built-in problems with the business practice itself of game streaming. And then we also figure out that some of the people in charge think that we should be paying them to, if you want to like do a Twitch stream. That is so ass backwards. I haven't even touched on the fact that streaming helps games and developers. Think of all the games that wouldn't be as popular as they are right now if it weren't for streaming. Think of how many games you have bought because some creator you would like was playing it on a stream. It's this generation's word of mouth. To put some kind of barrier on that, to make it harder for your consumers to spread the word about your game, is the dumbest thing I can think of, and it's coming from a guy who works in the industry, for Christ's sake. It's just so dumb because sharing things on the internet is good in general for the people who create these things. Like, forget video games. Look at, for instance, the way TikTok is making certain songs explode. Remember Dreams by Fleetwood Mac? You probably remember it because it's been playing non-stop. That song is 43 years old, and this month it shot up to the Billboard Top 10 list. You know why? Because of a stupid TikTok. Some guy filmed himself drinking ocean spray to the sound of Dreams by Fleetwood Mac. And next thing you know, the song is huge. Guess who's making big bank off of that? Same thing happened back in 2017 with the song Shooting Stars by Bag Raiders. That song is from like 2009 and it's from an Australian music duo. Never made it big outside of Australia, and then almost 10 years later it became a worldwide sensation because of a meme, because people are using the song technically without authorization to just have fun with on the internet. Because of that, the band got opportunities they never got before, like touring the States. Remember, they were not even big outside of Australia. So I have to go back to what I said in the very beginning. How do you get to work in the industry for as long as you have for now and fundamentally not understand how gamers, streamers actually help you? How do you not get that?